Good morning. My name is Jay Rosenthal, and I'm the Managing Director of Business of Cannabis. Welcome to the Cannabis Daily Show for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Since 2017, we've highlighted the companies, brands, people, and trends driving the cannabis industry, and that's what we look to do here every day. We'd love to hear from you in the comments, and always feel free to visit us at businessofcannabis.com, as well as through all of our social channels, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please smash the subscribe button. The European Cannabis Report, the 7th edition, is available right now for download. Information on that is in the description below. And check out all that our friends from Prohibition Partners have put together on the emerging European cannabis market, including market sizing, country by country breakdowns. It's a great report. Have a look below. In September, we'll be in New York for Business of Cannabis New York 2 days. Check that out in the description below as well. For today's top stories, major hurdles are facing U.S. cannabis, according to the Weedmap CEO. The New York dispensaries right now are proliferating despite warnings about them being closed and facing fines. And cannabis stores are opening in Canadian malls and airports. It's quite a time to be alive in Canada. For our first story, Weedmap CEO Chris Beals appeared on Yahoo Finance to talk about the biggest barriers facing legalization in the U.S. Now, when it comes to getting legalization through the Senate, Beals said it really comes down to the president and his administration, who's opposed to cannabis reform. He said, "I think nobody in the Democratic caucus wants to see an internecine war break out before the midterms." Second, rather than federal reform, Beals identified the limited number of licenses available in some states as, quote, the single biggest issue facing the industry, which he said drives consumers to the illicit market. You'll see that in our next story. And so in November, Beal joined Business of Cannabis for a conversation. You can check that out on businessofcannabis.com. It's also linked in the information below. For our second story, since cannabis was legalized in New York last March, it's easier than ever to buy flower, pre-rolls, and gummies in New York City. This according to a report in The Gothamist. The problem? Well, dispensaries aren't licensed to sell yet, and they are ignoring warnings from state regulators. Each store, some of them are chains actually, have a different vibe. Midtown's Weed World have it's a van, blast music, and sales reps have to shout. Nearby Indoor Cannabis plays quieter music and has a more curated selection. And the Lower East Side Street Lawyer Services, which has locations in DC as well, which uses the gifting loophole to sell videos and mixtapes with a bonus of a cannabis gift. It's a great thing, according to one customer of Street Lawyer Services. It feels like it's more regulated and safer. I like walking into a store better than some random guy coming to my house. That person has a point. We'll see how legalization unfolds over the next year or so. For our final story, the cannabis retail landscape is shifting from bustling high streets to malls and airports. This is in the Canadian press, and this is talking about Canadian cannabis retail. Copilot will be Canada's first airport cannabis store, scheduled to open at BC's Prince George Airport this summer. There are now 8 Tokyo Smoke stores in malls across Ontario, including the Eaton Centre and the Rideau Centre, 2 high-profile malls in Toronto and Ottawa, respectively. And High Tide is targeting plazas and malls such as Winnipeg's St. Vital Centre. There's even a cannabis store inside the infamous Dirty Dufferin Mall in Toronto near my house, actually. But there are some unique challenges to opening malls and airport stores. Often can't be located near food courts where children are in close proximity, and there must be security footage of deliveries coming to the store from loading docks. And airlines have already pushed back on airport stores, saying they would encourage pre-board consumption, as if there's no consumption of alcohol at airports. Want to double with that? Those are the stories we're watching today. Join 12,000 others and catch all these stories and more in your inbox every day at 7 a.m. Eastern with our Cannabis Daily newsletter. And those keeping track, this was episode 61 of the Cannabis Daily Show. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube or wherever you caught the program, and we will see you tomorrow.